The Oscars were a whole mess this year, and we have a lot to get into, so let's just dive straight in. First, Kim Kardashian. What was that? She showed up to the Vanity Fair Oscars after party in head to toe Gucci gold and somehow still looked like she had just rolled out of bed. And if you also thought the same, click subscribe. So the hair was everywhere, the walk was unsteady, and the whole vibe was just off. This is a woman who calls herself a style icon. So when people online are writing things like, I thought that was Lauren Sanchez, that is not the reaction you want. And Lauren Sanchez was actually at the same party, so people were genuinely confusing Kim with Jeff Bezos' fiancé. Not a good sign. The dress was hard to walk in, sure. The heels were massive, but Kim has done worse and carried herself better. Something about the whole look just did not come together, and the internet was absolutely ruthless about it. Now let's talk about Tiana Taylor, because her night was something else entirely. Her film walked away with multiple Oscars, which is a massive win, but Tiana herself, she was all over the place. First, there was the headlock, an actual headlock, on stage at the Oscars. She grabbed a fellow winner and put him in a full wrestling move while celebrating, and people could not stop talking about it. But then the context hits, because later in the night, footage emerged of Tiana going completely off on a man backstage. She was furious, claiming he had physically shoved her. She wasn't backing down, she wasn't lowering her voice, and honestly, good for her. You don't get to put your hands on someone and expect them to stay quiet about it. She didn't win Best Supporting Actress. That went to Amy from Weapons, which felt deserved. But Tiana was gracious about that loss. The shoving situation, not so gracious, and she shouldn't have been. Now for the moment of the entire night. Michael B. Jordan won Best Actor, and the reaction in that room said everything. Leonardo DiCaprio looked like he was about to cry happy tears. The whole audience erupted. The moment between Michael and his mother was genuinely moving. It felt earned, it felt emotional, and it felt like the right call. The internet agreed. One person called him a humble king, and that really does sum up the energy he brought to the whole evening. This was his moment, and he deserved every second of it. Of course, that win came at the expense of Timothée Chalamet, who everyone had been watching all night. Now, to his credit, Timothée handled it well on the surface. He looked composed, even happy for Michael in the moment. But the cameras never left him, and the internet was already deep into analyzing every micro-expression. His legs were visibly bouncing in his seat during the ceremony, that anxious, restless energy of someone who knows every single camera in the building is pointed at their face. And to make matters worse, Timothée had a whole other situation hanging over him before the show even started. Weeks before the Oscars, a clip resurfaced of him making dismissive comments about ballet and opera, basically saying nobody cares about those art forms anymore. It went viral right before award season, and the Academy did not forget it. The show opened with a full ballet performance. Misty Copeland, a legendary dancer who had recently gone through hip replacement surgery, performed right in front of him. The internet was absolutely living for it. Then came the Spielberg moment. Steven Spielberg had publicly referenced those same ballet and opera comments, and at one point during the night, Timothée ended up walking directly behind him with only one person between them. Cameras caught the whole thing. Timothy's publicist physically turned him in the other direction to avoid eye contact. They were both peeking sideways at each other. It was exactly as awkward as it looked. As for this outfit, Timothée showed up in a full white look that read more like a kid at his first school formal than a serious Oscar contender. He's pulled off bold and dramatic before. This felt like he lost his nerve at the wrong moment. Either commit to the look or wear a classic suit. The oversized white middle ground wasn't it. And then there was Kylie. She was glowing on that red carpet. People were screaming her name. She looked radiant, completely in her element. Meanwhile, Timothée looked like he was calculating the fastest exit route. When Michael's name was called and Timothée didn't win, eagle-eyed viewers spotted Kylie quietly fiddling with her fingers. Small movement, but it said a lot. the Kardashian curse conversation was all over social media before the night was even over. Before the ceremony even began, Nick Jonas and Priyanka Chopra were already having a moment. Their Sprinter van got denied clearance through security, so they had to pivot to a golf cart. The driver, clearly trying to make up time, took a turn so sharp and so fast that one of the wheels actually lifted off the ground. Nick and Priyanka were holding on for their lives. They made it to the red carpet, they looked great, but they absolutely needed a moment to recover from nearly tipping over in a golf cart on the way to the Oscars. One of the most genuinely frustrating moments of the night, and there were a few, was when the K-pop Demon Hunters team got their acceptance speech cut off by the orchestra music. They had just started sharing real, personal stories, talking about being mocked for being Korean, for loving K-pop, for being different. Their film meant something. Their song was being sung by kids all over the world, and they got played off before they could finish. Meanwhile, other winners, particularly white male ones, were regularly allowed to ramble through long speeches with no interruption. The internet noticed. People were furious, and honestly, they had every right to be. Those artists deserved their full moment on that stage. Kris Jenner and Corey Gamble showed up together, which was interesting given everything going on with their relationship. Kris walked the red carpet solo, then Corey joined her, and the body language was telling. She did not look thrilled when he grabbed her hand. Uncomfortable energy, to say the least. And then there was Diane Warren, nominated for the 17th time in her career. 17! And she still has not won. The cameras caught her reaction when Billie Eilish took the award, and it was genuinely hard to watch. You could see it on her face. She really believed this was going to be her year. Maybe the 18th nomination is finally when it happens, but right now it just feels cruel. A few quick hits on the fashion. Leonardo DiCaprio looked sharp and continued his tradition of being the most likable man in any room. Jacob Elordi looked incredible, and yes, the mullet is absolutely working for him. Nick Jonas was well put together. Michael B. Jordan came in an almost military-style look with no collar, and it was interesting in a good way. Priyanka looked great despite the golf cart chaos. Pedro Pascal was almost unrecognizable without his mustache, and the look read a little stiff. And Demi Moore looked genuinely great, especially after a rough few weeks in the press. Look, every year the Oscars promise prestige and glamour and all of that, and every year the real entertainment comes from everything happening around the actual ceremony. This year was no different. Michael B. Jordan winning was the highlight the night deserved, genuine, emotional, and well-earned. Everything else, chaotic, messy, and completely impossible to look away from. Kim stumbling in gold, Tiana in a headlock, Timothée watching ballet from the front row, golf cart near disasters, a speech getting cut off that should have been heard in full. Anyways, keep yourself informed about celebrity news by subscribing to our channel.